For more than half a century, stories about the original Star Trek cast simmered quietly beneath the surface. Fans saw convention smiles, autograph tables, and friendly interviews, but behind the scenes, resentment lived like a shadow. William Shatner, the face of Captain Kirk, was admired by millions, yet many who worked beside him privately felt pushed aside. Rumors swirled for decades about ego, conflicts, and lost friendships, but none of it was fully addressed. Then, in 2025 at age 94, Shatner sat before cameras for a documentary and finally acknowledged the long-held grievances. What he said was unexpected, reflective, and emotional, enough to make Hollywood pause. His story began in Montreal on March 22, 1931, just before midnight. He was the only boy among 3 children raised in a home that balanced tradition with ambition. His father, Joseph, came to Canada alone at 17, escaping the uncertainty of Austria-Hungary, and built a clothing business strong enough to withstand the Great Depression. Young William wandered those factory floors watching adults work hard, absorbing discipline and determination. His mother, Anne, was the tender yet demanding force of the household. A trained elocution teacher, she saw something special in her son and pushed him into acting classes when he was just 8. He learned lines by repetition, recited Shakespeare for hours, and stepped onto the stage at 10 as Puck in A Midsummer Night's Dream. Her strict encouragement sculpted his voice, posture, and confidence, tools he would use for the rest of his life. Life in Montreal meant speaking both French and English before kindergarten, and by the time he reached Westmount High School, he was already competing in speech contests and debate clubs. At 14, he won first place in a provincial competition, a taste of applause that fueled him even more. Around the same time, he worked as a voice actor for CBC radio dramas, sometimes standing on boxes so he could reach the microphone. By 13, he had already performed in over 50 broadcasts, reaching homes across Canada during wartime years when families depended on radio for escape and comfort. Family roots reached farther back. His grandfather Wolf, born in the 1850s in Eastern Europe, changed the family name to Shatner when immigrating to Canada to blend in more easily. Reinvention, survival, and adaptation were in William's blood long before he became a public figure. Acting wasn't Joseph Shatner's idea of stability, yet he drove his son to recording sessions and waited in the car, quietly supporting dreams he didn't fully trust, and turned the living room into a stage, writing improvised plays where William always took the lead. By 12, he joined the Montreal Children's Theatre, a place that nurtured young performers. At 16, he directed puppet shows at a summer camp for $25 a week, a fortune for a teenager then. The job required him to perform multiple voices, sharpening the vocal rhythm and dramatic pauses that later defined Captain Kirk. He entered McGill University in 1949 studying commerce for practicality, but acting consumed him more than business. He joined a comedy troupe and rehearsed late into the night, learning comedic timing and audience connection. After graduating in 1952, he worked at the Mountain Playhouse sweeping floors, memorizing scripts in the dark, understudying roles, and waiting for a chance. When an actor fell sick shortly before a show, Shatner filled the role with barely time to prepare, and received a standing ovation. Confidence hardened, ambition sharpened. He knew he belonged under lights. He reached New York in 1956, debuting in a Broadway production that closed within 2 weeks. The thrill was short-lived, but it kept him in the city. 2 years later came The World of Susie Wong, the play that changed everything. It ran for more than 500 performances and transformed him from a background actor to a Broadway lead. Around the same time, he acted in small films, slowly climbing toward Hollywood. The Brothers Karamazov in 1958 and Judgment at Nuremberg in 1961 put him among big names, teaching him how heavy and emotional film work could be. Television soon followed: Twilight Zone, Alfred Hitchcock Presents, Dr. Kildare, and The Man from UNCLE, where he unknowingly shared screen space with Leonard Nimoy before either knew their future. Then came 1966, the year of Star Trek. More than 50 men auditioned for Captain Kirk, but Shatner's command of the ship's log sold the role instantly. He signed on for $5,000 per episode, far more than other cast members earned. Leonard Nimoy as Spock started at 1/4 of Shatner's salary, and resentment brewed almost immediately. Still, Shatner worked obsessively, memorizing pages of dialogue overnight and improvising scenes that would shape the captain's charm and confidence. Fan mail soon flooded in, not only for Kirk but overwhelmingly for Spock. Producers increased Nimoy's billing, partly due to fan pressure. The show's popularity grew, but so did friction. Stories circulated about lines being reassigned. One early episode originally gave Nichelle Nichols 15 lines, but after last-minute changes she spoke only 5. No explanation was given, it was simply done. Leonard Nimoy once relied on a bicycle to travel across the studio lot until Shatner hit it for fun, sparking a confrontation in front of crew members. A planned solo magazine cover for Nimoy was cancelled when Shatner insisted he be included due to a contract clause. George Takei expected a major scene commanding the Enterprise in the Tholian web, but after adjustments, his 8 minutes of screen time became 2. James Doohan once walked off set after feeling dismissed during a technical dispute. None of these incidents stopped the show, but each left a mark that time never fully erased. When Star Trek struggled with ratings in 1968, fans launched a massive letter campaign, over 1 million letters, saving the show for one more season. When it finally ended in 1969, it seemed finished forever. But reruns sparked a cult following, conventions emerged, movies revived the franchise, and Star Trek became cultural mythology. Shatner's career moved on too. He performed his own 20-foot stunt during The Wrath of Khan in 1982, directed The Final Frontier in 1989, wrote tech war novels that became a television miniseries, hosted Rescue 911 for 7 years reaching millions, and later won Emmy Awards for Boston Legal with the quirky, unforgettable character Denny Crane. At 90 he rode a Blue Origin rocket into space and returned emotional, describing Earth's fragility rather than triumph. Not all publicity was positive. In 2023, controversial tweets posted from his account stirred debate about climate issues, later revealed to have been written without his knowledge. Yet he spoke at COP28 affirming the seriousness of climate change. In 2024, he reunited publicly with Walter Koenig for a virtual panel, while George Takei chose to stay distant. Tension hadn't disappeared, but some healing had begun. Then finally, in 2025 came the confession. With age and reflection softening him, Shatner admitted that ambition sometimes clouded kindness. He recognized that while he fought to make Captain Kirk unforgettable, others around him felt overshadowed. He expressed regret, not in a dramatic apology, but with genuine awareness that time had changed him.